Alright guys, so let's carry on our car. So basically what we did in the last episode, if you remember, is that we now have the ability to add now the chassis, right? So we can do things like that, for example, where you can create like a crazy car. So I'm just gonna add here. Now the thing that I would like to add today is just the ability to save this car, because right now at the moment I have to keep loading and unloading the parts and the pieces, and it's not really something that I'm just gonna actually use this. I think there's a bug with our menu, but you guys got the idea. Like it's working. I can't close the menu right now, but that's fine. So we're gonna kind of make so we can save this car right now and load it back, right? Right, so the first thing I would like to do here is update a couple of things. And now that we have the base wheel, which is good, I'm just going to go back here to the to the BCP. And I'm going to improve this API car test. And we're going to do a couple of things here. Right. So the first thing that we need to add here is that we need to go to each part, right? So we're going to go back here to blueprints. I'm going to go back here to variables. And I am going to create a new type here. Actually, I'm going to do it inside a blueprint. I think this is going to be the best place. And I'm going to create an enum called e-part type. All right. We're going to use this part type to identify if this is a wheel, what kind of type is this, and based on the type we can trigger an action, right? On this case, the wheel we have to simulate in a certain way. If we have things like, for example, a thruster, then we have to only use the part as example. So we need to store the information against our master part, right? So what we're going to do here is that we're going to add part types. So we're going to have for now wheel, and then we're going to have body. Of course, body doesn't do anything. Right. Now the next thing we want to create here is a new structure. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to create a new blueprint structure called ST building part list or something like that. And I just realized I did one simple mistake, which is that I created this in the wrong place. I'm just going to select this and that, and I'm going to drag and drop inside where is the car, because this is more part of the modules, right? And now that we have this, open up the ST master car list, right? We're going to add here two things. The first one is going to be the part type. So what's going to be the type of this? And it's going to be part type. And then the next one we're going to add is a list of building parts that we can add here. So we're going to add here the car part, okay? And make sure the type is this base building part. Make sure this is an object, and the most important part, it's an array. Now this is looking a little bit confusing now, but don't worry, we're going to use this to help us identify on the master part which part we're trying to add. So now, for example, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to create two variables, but this first one is going to be let's say the wheel parts, and this is going to be a st, make sure it's public, compile and save, and you just go back here and you change this to wheel. Perfect. Now I'm just going to duplicate this and call this chassis parts, right? Which is the car, you know, the body, whatever we can use to build our car. Make sure it's a body, right? Now there's one more thing you have to do here, which is you're going to go back to modules, building, go back to blueprints, open up this stuff, right? And we're going to add here the part type. And now we can just search for this part type, make sure it's public. And now everything is going to be default to body. Now you can go back here to the car parts, go back to the wheel, open up the base wheel, and on the base wheel you're gonna be able to change this to wheel. And because we're using child classes, if you check the classes, they're all reflecting the right change. So this is all you have to do here. Nice. Now the next thing we have to figure out is when we place the part, we need to organize this properly. So then we can get rid of all this logic here. Okay. So how we can actually do this is, you know, very, very simple. When I place the part, right, I need to know what kind of part I am adding here, right? So what I can do is I can copy this and add it here, right? Sorry. And what I can actually do here, what I can actually do now, sorry, is that on the car master part, I'm gonna get, like for example, the wheel parts, and get the body parts, or chassis, right? I think I call chassis. To be honest with you, let's just call this body parts. It's just because otherwise we're gonna get into a very crazy issue here, right? And we just need to add this new part to the right one. So we need to get the type of the part, and then based on the type, we add it here. So because I want this to be as simple as possible, let's go back to the master car part. Let's go back to the functions. Let's create another one called fn add car part to list, right? And then all you are going to do here is, I like to do this trick in a new engine, that I can copy this respawn part, for example, and I go here, I press paste, and then I can just do like this, so I get the right type without having to type and find it, right? So the target's going to be target part. We're going to get the part of it, and we're going to do a switch case, add it here, perfect. And then we just get the wheel part, and we're going to get the body part. We're going to break on both cases, all right? Just break them. And now here's the hardest part. We're going to add a unique value, because I don't want to add repeated parts. They all should be independent, but you know, we don't want to add the same thing twice. And you're just going to do the same thing here as well. I'm just going to copy and paste, add this here, plug it there, plug it here, right? And very simple, you know, just it works. We're just gonna go back here and look what we can actually do. We can just get the master car part, we can add this function, and now you just have to do that, and all that crazy logic is gone. Right, now let's see if this is working, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get the master part here, and I'm gonna get body, or body, sorry, is the master part. Yeah, I'm getting confused. So get body here. Now we can just break this, and we can do a print, and what we can do is just get a length, right? Length. That's it. Now, right now, let's see if it works. So if I get the chassis, right? It's gonna actually, I need to improve that. But we can refine that a little bit. Now, add it here. We're kind of creating a little bit of like a Minecraft car style. But now if I press F, I should see 3 values. Look at that. I got 3 values. And I can keep adding more. So here, that. And it keeps remembering everything, which is exactly what we're looking for. And that's pretty much what we need now. So what we can do here is we get all this stuff added, right? So the sockets, I'm gonna handle the sockets in a different way, but for now that's fine, right? So for now we get all this stuff here done properly. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get the wheel parts, and we're gonna break it, and I can just plug this one right there, right? Actually, just gonna do a for each loop, right? Perfect. Now we can actually go here, right? Now here's the thing. For the wheels, right, I do not have access to this element, unfortunately. But here's where we're gonna use our first interface. And I want you to understand that in this case, it's very useful to have interface, right? So we're gonna do it like this. So the base wheel, I'm gonna right click, gonna go back to blueprint. I'm gonna create a new blueprint interface called BPI, right? BPI, usually I like to call just this name and just add interface. And now this is gonna call I return, because it's gonna return something, base wheel, okay? And then this thing just need to be have an output call base wheel, and the type of this class is gonna be base wheel here as well. All right. Now what I can actually do, I need to use this interface, and if you're new to Unreal Engine, it's super easy to use interfaces. You don't need to worry about them. The way you do it, you go to your master the parent one, go to class settings, go to interfaces, and you just add here BPI interface. You see something like that's gonna show up. Double click on it. And because we're returning the self-reference, we just do this. And that's it. Now we got ourselves all set up. Now, how you use the interface is that we're going to go back to our blueprint class here, right? Now, I am looping through the wheel parts, right? Now I can just call this I return the base wheel interface stuff, right? And then all I can do is just hold control and plug it right here, everything there. I can delete all this stuff, and it's gonna work exactly as it was. But the only difference is that will only affect whatever we have inside the part list, okay? Now, for example, I can test you this. I can add this one right there, and if I press simulate, look, that doesn't simulate because it's not part of the component. But if I go back and add this one right here and press F, now they kind of work. You see? This is really cool. This is really cool. Now, one cool thing as well that we can actually do here, and this one is just a little bit of speculation, to be honest. I can just also do a for each on the body parts. Okay. Later on, we can move this whole thing inside the master part, but we don't need to do that right now. I can get, I think it's cube, and I think I can actually do like simulate physics, right, for each individual part, so everything behave as a proper simulation, right? Let's just have a look if this is gonna, I don't think this is gonna be a problem, but we can try to see here, right? Press F. Yeah, they detached, so this is a little bit of a problem. So this is, let me just double check if we need to do this, right? So what I'm trying to think here is that, do we need to simulate for the rest of the body? So auto weld, which is fine. I am tempted to say, guys, that for the other car parts, we don't need to care about them very much. So I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna do for the wheels, because it's the one that has, you know, they're touching the ground, so they need to have some kind of a simulation. I am tempted to say that we do not need to simulate for all these things, because as you can see here, oh, don't know what happened here, but you see I still can add and move them, right? And they behave as one. Perfect. Now, the next thing I would like to do is to actually, we can implement the logic to save the parts and load, right? So we're going to do that on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next one.